How did I get interested in the woodworking? And that is an interesting thing to me because when I went to high school, the first semester I was in shop and I learned to do woodworking stuff. And we lived on the creek, a Swan Creek, and the neighbor had a sawmill and Dad had some wood sawed up. And so I could have wood to work in the shop. And that got my interest. I knew nothing before that, other than I split wood as a little kid. And then when we lived in Western, then our heat was wood. And Mom, and when we moved to Western, she got electric stove, but she cooked with wood down before that, even though we had electricity. And I had to split the wood and get it to the house every day as part of my chores. Oh, that's a story I can tell you. So in the olden days, I had shredded wheat biscuits, and then have 3 in a row, and then you'd have a piece of cardboard and then another 3. And on the cardboard were kind of Indian things that Indians did. And the Indians in this one cardboard made a bridge across the stream. They cut a tree down, the tree fell across there. Then they made a handrail so they could go across on this bridge. And so my cousins and I, we were down on the Swan Creek. We found a tree right on the bank, kind of leaning, and we got the axes and we chopped and we got it down. And then we had lunch. And then I was telling Dad and Uncle Morris that we cut this tree down. And so we take them down to the creek to show our wonderful accomplishment. And Dad said, "What the hell do you cut that all walnut down for?" So I learned that walnuts you save. I took shop. And so then, went to college and all that and got married and raising kids. And so we had this basement. Finally, we built a house in Brookings in 1974. And I got a basement. And finally I said, well, Grandpa Ward had a table saw. And so when they died, and Dad got that, brought it up. And so I stick out a little bit of walnut wood from the farm and made an end table. It was my first thing. And then I made a decorative thing to put on the wall to put figurines in. Then I went to Stillwater, Oklahoma, Redfield, South Dakota, Stillwater, Oklahoma, Dodge City. We got to Dodge City. Then I went and got some of that wood and put it in our garage. I had a big garage, and so I had that so I could do some projects. And I built some shelves in the kitchen in our house. And then one time we were building the cabinets in a bathroom, which is a funny story because Tim and I, the youngest son, and we had the windows open and windows blowing, and it was nice working in the house. And the girls are out shopping. They come home and just screamed at us because it was 106 outside. So we had to turn the air conditioner on. I find that so funny I can't even talk. We're just working and it felt good. But so Jolene ordered a clock kit. The kit was from Emporia. No, it's from Clock Kit. And when I ordered that plan, then these come with it, along with the clock stuff. And so now I have to make the square ones. I was trying to make a miniature clock here, and you see that's how I make the columns now, like that. It had a wind-up clock in it. And so I made that in Dodge City. And so then we moved to Kearney, and then built out in the country. And we got this shop built. They had the table saw, and then I bought a new table saw and give the old one to my son Mark. But started making stuff out of barn wood because we tore a barn down at our farm and bulldozed down the house, bulldozed all that stuff down. But I got some barn wood, and so I started making some benches and all those kind of things. And then I wanted to bulldoze down a dry creek we had on the farm, and NRCS ruled that was a wetland, and they couldn't do anything, couldn't farm it. Well, I was so disgusted. I was talking to my cousin, Les Ward, and he said, let's start logging. And I was okay, and so we started cutting down trees, and he was president of the Jefferson County Historical Society, and they had a sawmill at Steel City. And we'd take the logs down there and get them sawed up, brought them home and dry them for a year, and then started working on stuff. And the first 4 clocks I made were for our 4 kids, and got started with that. Then you remember Bruce Blankenship? It would build a clock for him. Eldon Holting was our financial advisor. I built a clock for him, and then he come out and we built 4 clocks. He had 4 kids, and so he built clocks for each one of his kids and helped do that. And then with Bruce Blankenship, I started giving the clock to Catholic Gold every year. And that's kind of how this thing all started. But the woods is because let's start doing logging. So here's kind of the walnut boards that we have here. These are some kind of cheap board. Here's the kind of board that I would use, and this would make a really pretty top right there. So this is black walnut. And so all these boards in this shelf was black walnut. Over here is bur oak, and I got some pretty big boards, and you can see all the grain in the boards here. They really make some pretty tops, and when you see it this way, and the grain goes straight up and down. This is not very good, but then that makes the prettiest boards. This is a red elm. I had some of that left. Well, that's a box elder. It's not a very pretty board, is it? See, there's rotten spots in here yet. You could probably pick out a top in here with this red streaking in it. So this is where they live, in this box elder wood. Box elder bugs, if you don't know what they are. Now this is bitternut hickory, and it's got a really white sap board, I guess you call it. And and that's outside of the trunk, and then the heart is in here. And the hickory is a smoother grain, where the oak is open grain and the hickory is smooth. So I always like to work with that. See that board up there? It's a Purple Heart. And I got a gift certificate from Midwest Woodworkers in Omaha one time. And I bought 2 Purple Heart boards and made a clock out of the other board for Nick for his college graduation. So he has a Purple Heart mantle clock. This is oak, bur oak here. This is hickory here. And of course that's pine, which I don't like, but so this is a planer, how I make those boards smooth. So it's a 220 engine, there's 220 motor on there. So I got a big plug-in for that. This is bitternut hickory here. I got one log here I got to work on. This is red cedar that my cousin had down in the corn crib. My goal is I want to have enough wood in here that when I go, the kids have a really fun time getting rid of all the wood. Kind of the perfect place for a top, the top part. And there's a space right in here. And so I look at that. But what size do I know? Well, there it is. So each one of these, the top is 5 inches by 13 inches. So then I can kind of look in here and I can see this pattern right here. I think I can get a top out of there. And then I use, here's a rotten spot that can be a board that another board goes on top of. And so I can use those kind of boards. The router the router's over here in this table. So that if you want to see what this would do, the one that's in here, so it gouges out of, like that. And so on the clock, you'll see this kind of a groove, and that's the bit that's in there. And then I have to change the bits. The bits are over there. And you got a belt sander and the big sander here. So it's kind of loose on this end, but the rest of it works good. And join the boards through, then get them smooth. So then I have this palm sander for finishing up the finishing sand. The sand in 150 and then 220 grid.
Ray, why do you have a wood stove in a wood shop?
So, well, number one is for heat when it's cold outside. Number two is to get rid of all my mistakes. So, the fundraiser, the most was $1,500 at Nebraska Farm Bureau, and I wasn't there for that, so I missed that. But a customer friend up at Carroll, Nebraska, Bill Claybaugh, bought that. Before that, it was $900 from Todd Booth at Platte Valley Auto, and then that time it was at a Rural Radio Foundation meeting over with Caribbean, and Eric Brown said, "Carry this around and show everybody." So during the auction, I had to walk around with this clock, and that's how we got it up that high then. And it costs, the clocks, I just ordered some new ones, and they cost $65. I think some of the old ones are 35 or 40, and then the Brazils, the dials were about $30 a piece, and then all the decorations. So I had figured close to $100 in the mechanical parts, and then the wood and the time. So, I always figured $200 for a clock is what it cost me, but I hadn't thought of that. But I'm going based kind of, and I got the invoices of almost all the stuff I've ordered, so I could go back and count stuff up and see. But at one time, I decided to quit making them because I was making plant stands and some other stuff because I thought I'd ruin the market, and the people started asking for them, and so now they, Mick takes one to the Commodity Classic every year, and we go down to No-Till in the Plains and some other places around. So who knows what? It's just a hobby to have. Now, if I had to make those, stay home and make those, that'd be a job, and I don't want to do it. It's for fun, and the Farm Bureau called and interviewed me the other day about the charity thing, and it just makes sense to have some activity for myself and be able to donate it to somebody that can raise money on it and put it to good work, because that's kind of the honor of it, and it's just fun to think about.